Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the NECA Toys Aliens concept figure Xenomorph Albino Drone. Aliens 30th anniversary, NECA releases the albino drone here of the Xenomorph from Aliens. It is a concept figure. It's actually, this particular figure I found a little harder to find of the 3 figures released in this series. Spin around the side of the package. You can see the albino there. A very, very long tongue. I love the look of that. Then the back of the package, this special edition concept figure is inspired by James Cameron's original screenplay for the 1986 movie. Cameron's script describes the drone as an albino version of the Xenomorph that has an excreting probe instead of the usual second inner mouth. It uses this probe to create these cocoons that immobilize hosts while their chest bursters gestate. It's an interesting design. I'm kind of somewhat sad that that wasn't actually in the movie. I guess it really didn't fit with the other Xenomorphs. It would have looked a little jarring, I think, having it in the movie, but you can't help but wonder what could have been. Other figures also available down below, all of which we will be looking at down below. Can't wait to have a look at Vasquez here. That being said, Spot's going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Alien 30th anniversary concept figure of the Xenomorph Albino Drone. There's more heading your way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Now that he's out of packaging, let's get a better look at the Albino Drone. As you could probably expect it, the Albino Drone makes use of the existing Alien Warriors, or Alien Xenomorph Warrior from the Aliens line. So pretty much a lot of what you've seen with that figure release gets carried over here to the Albino. What doesn't get carried over, though, is the traditional black, the blue, and gray colors from those painted figures, as the albino here is in a very stark white wash. It's a white wash, but it's a white wash over a very creepy looking pink coloring. It's got almost the same coloring as, I don't want to say like flesh, because flesh isn't really that rosy in color, but it has a jarring flesh pink color that makes up the overall body here of the albino drone. And then simply what they've then done is they've washed over this pink with the additional white, giving him that albino look. Now, one of the things that also separates this guy from the other Xenomorph aliens, above and beyond simply a swap out of color, is the addition of this. And this is the tongue extended portion that jets out from its mouth. Looking at this figure and thinking what this figure would have represented, you can't help but wonder, like, you'd like to know more about this guy. Would there have been only one of these per hive? Would there have been multiples of these hives that would have actually been around the area of the queen? How would this guy have been incorporated into the movie? I think that he would have, watching the movie and seeing random albino aliens could have been cool, but it also could have taken a little bit more away from aliens, having them more as distinct species where you now have different category classes. But still, I can't help but wonder what they would have actually done with this albino had he made the movie. So needless to say, he's got this really long appendage, so to speak, which is actually a wire frame, same as really his tail. You can bend it and manipulate it any which way you want. It has the same pink color as his body, although a little bit more darker in nature. He's got a little bit more kind of a dark wash there added to the areas, little wrinkles and creases and folds. It's got a very, I'm trying to think of the word here, where it looks like it's something else, and I can't think of the word. I'm drawing an absolute blank, but it has like a sexual sort of, drawing an absolute blank. Somebody's going to probably tell me down below, oh, Swat, you're thinking of this word, but it does kind of have a, again, I'm drawing an absolute blank. It'll come to me later. I'm sure suggestive. It has a very suggestive looking design to it. if I can use the word suggestive. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up his mouth, and we're going to take the end plug portion of this, and we're going to fit it right into his mouth. Now, it's a little on the difficult side because you actually have to put it up, as opposed to putting it straight in. You have to put it up into almost like the roof of his mouth and then fit it in from there. It certainly would separate itself from the other xenomorphs by having this very long appendage sticking out from his mouth. Very suggestive. That's probably still not the word I'm looking for. Very suggestive looking mouth appendage. But again, with this being wireframed, at least you can move it around, but it's really difficult to get this into his mouth without it falling out. I can see that there are a couple of prongs in there that kind of assist that once it's in there, it locks those into place. But getting them into place can be a little bit more difficult. I probably will just end up displaying him with this, as this is a crucial accessory and a crucial point to really why this guy exists, or at least exists in the sense of concept figures, because then we really never saw this guy make light of day in the movies themselves. Can't help but wonder though, what would have been. I think for the posability aspect, I'm going to take this out like that. We'll just put it to the side. For the posability of the albino drone, his head does rotate. I say head, his head. It's not necessarily I'm suggesting that his head, that he is a he, but just for the purpose of this review, I'm just going to say he. It's probably, it is an it, I'm sure. But the head does rotate left and right. A nice, again, scaling effect on the top bridge portion of his forehead there. And like the other aliens, this little tab portion, this little back fin, can be removed from the back torso of the alien, so you can bring the head further back if you so wish, just in case you do want that. The shoulders hinge out as well, and you can rotate the arms all the way around, like that. He has a rotation on the bicep. He also has a rotation on the forearm, and he does have a double bend in the elbow, like that. The hands, individual hands do also rotate, and they also have their own independent hinges. Yeah, and this was actually surprised that this held on the way that it did. This pops off on my figure all the time. When I was doing the review of this guy, or setting this guy up for review, and I was just kind of playing around with him, I think this little section on the alien drone here has broken off. Yeah, it has broken off. It was giving me problems earlier, and I put it back into place thinking it was going to stay in place, and sure enough, yeah, I knew it was going to pop off sooner or later. This little clip here, or this little loop, fits like right over here, and it popped off. I don't even know if I can get it back in for the purpose of this review, but this popped right off earlier. And then when Spot was shooting the video again, I thought, no, it's going to stay in place. It's going to stay in place. But no, it didn't. Which actually is a good time for me to bring up one problem I have with this figure. QC issues. More importantly, just with the arms themselves. Like, this arm hasn't given me any problems just thus far. The double hinged elbow still works perfectly fine. But I don't know why they had to resort to having it set up like this, where this looped itself. Because I can't think of any other way. It's too small to fit through here, so I'm assuming that this was actually going around. Maybe it's just my particular figure, it just probably broke earlier, or it was on the brink of breaking, and then when I took him out of packaging, he finally just gave way. But I'm going to have to probably glue that back into place. That's such a shame. Oh, I hate when stuff like that happens during videos. At any rate, he does also have a ball joint in the torso. I really wish that had stayed in place, especially for a figure like this. I would have wished this had stayed in place. Forward and back motion on the legs, a split out on the thigh portion. He does have a double hinge on the knee, which so far so good, knock on wood. He has a rotation all the way around on the feet, and of course he's got the wire tail, the wire frame in his tail. Other than the fact of his poor arm, which I thought actually was going to survive the rest of this review, and ultimately it did not. I'm going to have to glue that in place or something. I do overall like the figure. I can't help but wonder what this figure could have been, or this character could have been, in the Alien movie had they decided to keep it in. it kind of also makes you realize that when movies are being developed, how many different thoughts and designs and ideas get scrapped, during these meetings. Just think of how many other things could have existed in the alien lore, or really just what could have existed in other movies as well. It would be very cool to sit down and see the thought process for some of these designs and see what initially would start with one, in this case with the albino drone, and what would have ended up with what we had in the movies. Also, again, a nod to NECA, if I can get this mouth appendage into his mouth. Also a nod to NECA for the fact that they took an existing figure, which again, companies are always trying to find means to make use of existing molds. The fact that they would take a figure like this and think outside the box and try to come up with new, interesting, and clever ways to rebrand an existing mold. I love the fact that we got a concept figure like Albino here. Sure, the arm is a little crappy because it had to break off the way that it did, but that's not to say that's every single figure, so I can't say, be careful, this figure may have an arm that breaks off. It's simply just my figure, and for me, I'll just have to go in, take a little bit of glue, and pry this open up, fit this back over in the arm, and I'm sure I'll be as good as new, or I won't be as good as new, but the albino here will be as good as new. Today's toy spot, despite the fact that the arm, well, we lost the arm in the process. Today, though, we were having a look at the Aliens 30th anniversary. This was the concept figure Xenomorph Albino Drone with a really suggestive, maybe suggestive is the word, suggestive tongue that sticks out from his mouth. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more toy spots heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.